Welcome to the Lock Shop with Nielsen and Hustler, powered by Coolbet Canada.
Nope. No Dusty, no Hustler, no problem though. The Coolbet boys are in the saddle. Welcome inside the Lock Shop presented by Coolbet. Remember, if you haven't joined Coolbet just yet, use the promo code LOCKSHOP to double up your first deposit up to $200. I'm Pat Gregoire, joined by Jake Bull and Moss. We mentioned it. The fellas are in the hammer for the 110th Grey Cup. I believe Dustin Nielsen is schmoozing at the CFL awards ceremony, and our guy Huss is actually at Tim Hortons Field taking in some Bombers practice. Before we get into the big Thursday night matchup, we got to stick with the CFL. Jake, you obviously have kept a close eye on the lines when it comes to the CFL, the Grey Cup, the big game. Our Toronto Argonauts obviously not making their way in, but as no surprise, the line has moved. Are you surprised, though, that we haven't seen it gone bigger than -8 in favor of the Bombers?
Yeah, I mean, Huss keeps talking. He said he wouldn't be surprised if he sees it up around 9.5. So it's interesting that it's kind of holding where it is at the moment, 8.5. But I think it did open 7.5. So we have seen a little bit of movement up to this point. I can't get a good read on it. I mean, obviously, I don't watch a ton of CFL as it is, but I don't know. It seems like for whatever reason, Caleros has had Fajardo's number. That's just been the way it's gone. Basically, the whole time every time they meet up with each other. So I don't know. Do you just you think is it at one of those spots where Winnipeg off a Grey Cup loss last year, they come out, there's no question they're the best team and they take care of business, or does this underdog Montreal story continue and they keep it close or maybe even win? I mean, you look at the money line number, just over 3-1 right now. So I feels like one of those things. If you think Montreal can keep it close, why not sprinkle a little bit on the money line and just see? It's a Grey Cup, right? Last game of the season, you're going to leave it all out there. So might as well just see if they can do it. But if you're on the Winnipeg train, then that's the number you're looking at, 8.5 right now.
Obviously, Fajardo, no stranger to the bright lights, won a Grey Cup in 2017. He was there in previous. This is a guy that's been there in the big moments. He's played in these big games before. So definitely, I think if you're thinking that he won't shy away and this Cinderella story is not going to click midnight, down in Hamilton, then I think, plus 8.5 is probably the play. I don't know if we see it get up to 9.5, like Huss may say, especially with us not really hearing the injury news for the Bombers. But with that being said, man, this Bombers team is a well-oiled machine. From start to finish, you could argue that they've been one of the best teams in the CFL, definitely one of the best teams in the West. Pretty crazy to hear that reports now coming out, though, in Toronto that Chad Kelly actually had a concussion in that Eastern Finals and was not taken out of the game. Pretty remarkable. I'm sure we're going to find out more about that, but that's enough talk of the Toronto Argos because they blew their chance. These two teams are the big teams. There's some great bets on the board already, Jake. I know we've got all our player props up. Just the normal markets, the player passing, the reception yards, the receptions, rush yards. But we now have some game props, some player head-to-head props as well. I know that Huss was looking for sacks. He thinks the Blue Bombers are going to get to the quarterback early and often. Right now, their total is set at 3.5. The over's at +130. The under's at -167. The total sacks for the game, 5.5 at +115. I really like that one. And Montreal sacks recorded at 2.5. The over at +155. Under is also -204. I know we're going to get some other unique betting options as well. Anthem, which song will Green Day perform first? And Jake, as you know, though, anytime on social media in the AM Nasty Chat, whatever it may be, the cool bettors can request maybe some possible options. And I think we're going to have some cool bet exclusives as well, will we not?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if people have ideas on what kind of bets they're looking for, if you don't see it on the board by, tomorrow, Saturday, and you really want to get it in before the game, let us know. Send us a message or, tag us on Twitter or wherever you prefer. And yeah, we can do our best to get something up. We have some great bookmakers that put these odds up for us, and yeah, really looking forward to the game on Sunday. So yeah, if anything you want, we can at least try to market it. It doesn't necessarily make any promises that it can be done, but for the most part, our guys find a way. So yeah, like you said, there's some good ones up there now. I posted a few earlier. I mean, will there be a single or rouge? That's minus 115 both ways. A punt or kickoff return for a touchdown, that's 6-1. There's a few more safety in the game, plus 325. Overtime, 10-1. So yeah, some are starting to trickle in. Like you said, the player props there. We have some player head-to-heads. So a lot of options and plenty more on the way, like you said.
Well, you know where you can get that all at coolbet.com. I believe we still don't know what the schedule will be for tomorrow for the lock shop. I think Huss will be good to go. We're still waiting to hear from Dusty. I know, though, the majority of those prop bets, those will be out. Those guys are live on location as well, so they'll probably be throwing out some more picks as well throughout the week. But before we head south to the AFC North division battle, let's stay with some northern content in Canada in hockey before we get to some to some NHL action. We got to talk about what happened last night, because I'm seeing in the chat right now everyone saying they warned us about Philly. We were warned about. I said it to Huss. I talked about them being spread killers, puck line coverers. Not only do they cover the puck line, they win outright, and Philly is now proving to be a very, very pesky team. I don't know if you caught any of the action yesterday, Jake, but that certainly was not only a lock shop killer, but I think a lot of people had Carolina to win in reg, possibly even on the puck line.
Yeah, pretty big favorites. I think they're minus 233 or something when I was looking at it yesterday. I had fired together a little home favorites, very chalky parlay. And it's crazy. That's the one that ends up losing. Philly that's what they've been doing all season, killing parlays. The books really haven't caught up to them, winning. I think they have 9 wins now, 8 or 9 wins, right around 500. And yeah, it seems like, we keep underestimating this Philly team, and, Hart's playing really good in net, and, Sam Hunt's taking a nice jump. Couturier being back, Torts has got the boys playing. You can't argue that. So yeah, I had them. I didn't watch really any of the game, but I had them, like I said, in that little chalky parlay, and that was the one that ended up losing for me. But it is what it is. We just got to keep an eye on those Flyers, I guess.
The pesky Flyers. Yeah, Tortorella, his shelf life's not very long. He ages like milk on that bench, but for those few months, maybe even a year, he really gets a lot out of his team. He will wear his welcome out at some point. There's no denying that. Well, talked about Canadian, obviously sticking with Canada. There's a Canadian team over in Sweden, and we're now having the Global Series kick off. We've got some midday hockey coming up over the next few days. The Wings are over there. The Sens are over there. Our Toronto Maple Leafs are over there. And I believe Minnesota is the other team. But it all kicks off here today. I believe it's a 2:07 puck drop here Eastern at the Avicii Arena. And I think that this one here opens up Ottawa Senators they're a minus 135 favorite right now. The Red Wings at plus 115. High total sitting at 7 even. The over is plus 114. You can get the Sens on the puck line at minus 1 minus 1.5, I should say. Not really too much juice on the Red Wings, plus 115. We've also got the Blue Jackets and the Coyotes back in North America. The Yotes minus 125 favorites. Vegas in Montreal, heavy favorite minus 203. Montreal Canadiens, a heavy dog at home, plus 171. Surprising little start to their season. The Devils, plus 123 against the Penguins, minus 145. Sidney Crosby coming off a hat-trick performance. The Devils, although a team that started out hot, the lack of Jack Hughes, and they've really started to crumble over the last couple of games. We'll see if they'll be able to get back on track. Blackhawks, Lightning, Connor Bedard's Blackhawks plus 153 at home. The Canucks coming off a disappointing result yesterday, taking on the Flames, who are looking to turn their season around. Flames minus 134. That one's probably an interesting one there. Islanders and Kraken, a couple teams that played a lot of hockey as of late. Islanders minus 103, the Kraken minus 115, and then a couple games to finish off here. Panthers and Kings. The Kings, a pretty decent home favorite at minus 123. Panthers plus 105. And then last but certainly not least, it's the Blues and the Sharks. Blues, a really heavy favorite, minus 207 against the Sharks, who are heavy dogs, I should say, once again at home, as we find them quite a bit throughout the season. Now, before we flip gears, anything here on the NHL slate that jumps out at you?
Well, I had my buddy send me one this afternoon because we got that 2 p.m. Eastern game going. He said, let's see if we got it on here.
Lock Shop. We're always good for if you got insight, if you got a pick, we're in for it.
Yeah, Lucas Raymond point. It's minus 113. Swedish guy in Sweden, looking to put on a performance at home. And so that's one that I'm on for this afternoon. In terms of the rest of the slate, I mean, that Canucks line is interesting. I think they've won 7 of 8. Underdogs in Calgary. I know Calgary's, picked it up here a bit. But I don't know. That seems fishy to me. I think it's going to be to Smith for the Canucks, but he hasn't been bad by any means. I might take the cheese on that one, plus money Vancouver Canucks. I mean, they've been hot all over outside of the Leaf game. They've won 7 of their last 8. So that one's an interesting one. The Blues one doesn't really surprise me. The Sharks are bad, and the Blues have actually picked it up. I think they won, beat Tampa the other night 5-0, and Binnington looks to seem to be in a lot better form. Just a few that catch my eye. I was really surprised when we got to that Canucks line, and that's what it was. Maybe the Yotes on the road in Columbus. I don't know. What anything you like on the list?
I mean, the games that you touch there, of course, I'm a sucker when it comes to storylines. So the Swede in Sweden, certainly going to be a play, minus 113, looking at him to score a goal. Let's see if we can pull it up here. Plus 290, so pretty good number there. I'd probably sprinkle a little bit on that. Yeah, the Canucks doesn't make sense to me. They just really just had a bad start to the game. They ended up outscoring the Islanders 3-0, like halfway through that game. They really took over. They just couldn't really turn things on. And Pettersson only had an assist. Brock Besser had a goal and 2 assists. Quinn Hughes, 3 points. I think JT Miller had 3 points. So I'm looking at a bounce back spot here. Canucks plus 114 on the money line. But I also like Elias Pettersson to find the back of the net. I think he bounces back big. Looking at the number there, it is plus 173. So this is a guy that's, inserted himself in the race for the Hart Trophy early in this season. I think it's a big spot for him to come up big. So I'll go with those two there as my best bets for the NHL. Is there maybe a parlay we want to put together for some NHL action? I know yours is dropping in less than an hour here with Raymond, but maybe that's something that we can put together after the show and throw it on social.
Yeah, I mean, we can skip out on the afternoon game since it's coming up so quick, but I like the Canucks if you want to go that route. Getting plus money on them. Let's see what else. Don't mind the Kings at home against the Panthers. I haven't seen the starting goalies yet. Let me do a quick check on that. Anything that you're sold on here? You want to go? I mean, you already have the Pedersen goal, so I think we have something similar in the exclusives for a Pedersen goal, Miller point, Vancouver to win, and so we already kind of got one there.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe we go Canucks.
Let me look at goaltending here.
Okay, while you're looking at the goaltender, I'm okay with the Kings. I've been a big fan of the way that team's been built. When they played Toronto this year, you got a really close personal look at that roster. They're big, they're fast, they can skate. I think they're a team that a lot of teams are going to be afraid of if they get into the postseason here to play. They play a good brand of hockey. I'd also like the Golden Knights. I know it's minus 203. Again, for a parlay, we could throw that in there, but I'd also be okay with them. Possibly maybe in regulation. I know they're on the road. They're heading out east, but Montreal's punching up here. This is also a Montreal team that I think is overachieving at this point. They're starting to come down to earth. So I think Vegas could give them a really good reality check here. So maybe my pick there will be Vegas in regulation over the Habs.
Well, listen, if we just do the money lines, I'm looking at it here. Golden Knights, Canucks, Kings, plus 479.
Let's do it.
I think that plus money helps us a lot. So we don't even need them in reg if you want to just go straight money lines.
No, that would be
the lock shop.
Yep.
Yeah, the old Pat and Jake's lock shop special for the NHL tonight. So yeah, Golden Knights to win, Canucks to win, Kings to win.
Why don't we call it the replacements?
Couple road teams. We get a road dog in there. Yeah, the replacements parlay.
Yeah,
we'll get that one up soon. I don't know if Abdog's watching, but I'll send him a message.
Perfect.
I'll send him a message, and we can get that one online. Speaking of lock shop parlays, are we going to get into the NFL here, or what are you thinking?
Yeah, let's kick it over the NFL. Let's kick it over the NFL because this is a big game. This is a massive game for both sides. You look at the Bengals coming off a tough loss to the Texans, the Ravens coming off arguably even a more costly loss against the Browns, an in-division battle. They can't lose another one to another division foe. They have a pretty decent lead in that division, but it certainly can slip out of their hands with their remaining schedule. You talk about the exclusive, Jakes. Give us our lock shop partner parlay because you, myself, Huss, and Dusty kind of put together a parlay in our group chat, and I really like the number. I like this. I think this one comes home.
Yeah, listen, from beyond the ether, no Dusty and Huss today on the show, but we still got a parlay out before the show got started. So it's Joe Burrow, 2+ passing TDs. I think Huss was big on that one. This was Dusty, Mark Andrews, 4+ receptions. So we dropped it, I think, by 1 reception. I think his number's 4.5 right now. And then Bengals plus 3.5. Huss always talks about these AFC North matchups and really how close they play. I mean, we saw Cleveland and Baltimore ended as a 2-point game last week. And now we got Cincy in Baltimore in a 3.5-point spread. So, I'm with them on the Bengals. I think this is probably the spot where, there's not a lot of room for error. How they've had that bad start. And right now it's put up or shut up right now for the Bengals and Joe Burrow. So, I think they need to find a way here to get this win. And I mean, at the very least, we're going to see it either a Justin Tucker field goal probably to finish this thing off, or a McPherson field goal if it comes down to it. I think it comes down to that field goal number, and always like to take the points in a divisional matchup like this. So yeah, that's what we got over there. It's plus 350 for that parlay. I think it's up from like plus 300. So if you want to get on that, no time like the present, and I'll be real dialed into this Thursday nighter.
You talk about the number. It was at +4. It's now down to 3.5. Looking at if you want to roll with the Bengals plus 3.5, it's minus 102. If you're on the Ravens, minus 106. It is close enough to potentially look at some money line sprinkles. The Ravens minus 182. While the Bengals are plus 167 on the money line. Before we get into the total, Joe Burrow is 15-2. That's an 88 cover against the spread rate in games of 3 or more points as an underdog. And he's 7-3 straight up as an underdog in his last 10 games. The Bengals overall are 15-5 as an underdog. That includes the playoffs. I 100% are on the side here of thinking that this game means even more for the Bengals. Joe Burrow as an underdog, as we just laid out there, has been automatic. I think this is a huge, I don't want to say it's a must win at this point in the season, but this is as close as a must win as possible as it is for the Bengals. So this is a massive spot for both teams. Hungry dogs run faster. I think the Bengals are just a little more hungry. The total though, 46.5 minus 104 to the over. And the under is also minus 104. I really like the under here. I think both defenses are pretty stout. The secondary is a little bit suspect for the Bengals, but I also think the passing game for the Ravens is a little bit overrated, to be quite honest. Everyone's talking about how it's improved, and it is much better. I don't know how much they're going to be able to expose this Bengals defense when it comes to that. And let's be honest, we're big trends guys. The under in primetime games are 11-0 in the last 11 games. So I also like the under in this one, just based on trends and just based off the fact whenever these two teams meet, the defense tend to shine. And I mean, I could even see this being a, like you said, come down to the wire. It's probably going to be a sweat. I'm not saying it's going to be a 10-7 football game, but I think that the number at 46.5 is right there. But I'm more or less rolling with the trends. Whenever you do the lock shop, we always like to build our parlays with some props. We already built our parlay, but that doesn't mean we can't lay out some of our best bets when it does come to props. Jake, is there anything from a player prop perspective that's really jumping out at you?
Yeah, the one that really caught my eye was Boyd receptions. I believe it's at 4.5, minus 120. So a bit of juice. But he seems to be where it goes to, especially, Higgins, I think, didn't practice all week. I'm not sure what his status is, but I imagine if he plays, it'll be in a limited amount. All eyes are usually on Chase, and Boyd becomes that piece where it's like, okay, Chase is getting the double teams, but Boyd's still a very, promising asset for them, and a guy who gets, a lot of catches and a lot of targets when Higgins is, not playing as much as I think he had 8 receptions last week for Boyd with Higgins out. The week before Higgins played, he only had 3. So I think this is the type of guy who, when Burrow needs a safety blanket and Chase has got the double teams going, I'm looking at Higgins over receptions tonight. I'm probably locking that in very soon.
Funny you mentioned that because I'm on the Boyd over, but on his yardage. And I do like his receptions as well. I just think the number here, I really like it for yardage. You mentioned his big performance last week without, him jumping into a much bigger role with Higgins. 117 yards, 8 receptions on 12 targets against the Texans. He also had a pretty costly drop in the end zone as well, which I think he's going to want to bounce back for. But you mentioned that Bills game, only 3 receptions. Even while he only had those 3 receptions, he still had 56 yards. So I like the over on the yards. I'll still probably ride with you on the receptions, but that one there is a big one for me. I'll stick with one of my other ones, and then I can let you get into if you have anything else there. Joe Burrow over 13.5 rushing yards. I'm not saying that Joe Burrow is a dual threat quarterback by any stretch of the imagination, but when Joe Burrow is his most dangerous self, when he's making those jaw-dropping plays, when he's, just that gunslinger, that big time, big moment player, it's him using his legs, getting out of the pocket, extending plays. And we've seen him when this team and when he is healthy and when they thrive the most, it's him using his legs. I think that the fact that the Ravens are going to try to put pressure on him, I think he's going to have to get out and use his legs. He had 20 yards last week, and against the 49ers in that really convincing victory, he had 43. He was a little bit quieter against the Bills, but we still saw him really moving around in that pocket. So at over 13 and a half, this guy could get this on a first down and some. In one run. So over 13 and a half rushing yards, I like it. I don't think he's going to be contained in the pocket. I think he's going to have to get a little creative here. So my two plays, Boyd over 44 and a half receiving yards and Burrow over 13 and a half rushing yards. Is there anything else that you like here for player props, Jake?
Not really in terms of player props. I mean, we kind of touched on a lot of them now with, the Andrews stuff and the lock shot parlay. We both touched on Boyd here. I did confirm Higgins is out. I just double checked.
Okay.
As of yesterday, he's out for tonight's game. So, I imagine a lot of Jamar Chase and a lot of Tyler Boyd. It's prime time, Pat. We need to get your thoughts on the field goal number. I kind of lean, 3.5. I kind of lean the yes here because it's a divisional game. Points sometimes can be hard to come by. I agree with you on the under. I think, on a short rest, two teams that, got a lot of points put up on them last week. You want to tighten up a little bit. I'm with you on the under. Are we going to see 4 field goals? And are we going to see it in a dramatic fashion like we did on Monday night this past week?
Well, I was the Alonzo Mourning gif last week with that. Obviously, me being a card-carrying member of Bills Mafia, when that ball goes up through the outrights after there being 12 men on the field and the kick actually being no good before, thinking that they somehow escaped, that second kick goes up. And I am devastated, shaking my head, saying, I cannot believe it. This team just lost this game. Fire everyone. Fire McDermott, fire Dorsey. But then I thought, thinking to myself, well, that did cash the over on the field goal. So all was well after that. But yeah, it was a little bit of an internal struggle. I think anytime you have these divisional matchups, in the AFC North, I feel like defense, reign supreme and points are going to come at a premium. Throw out all the cliches, that you want. But I think it's valid. And I think it is true that we will see two very good kickers, mind you, at that. Normally this season, like Baltimore right now is only averaging 1.7 field goals per game, where Baltimore is actually at the same. So 1.7 plus 1.7, that's not going to get us there. But I think the fact that the matter is that the way this game's going to go, I think it's going to be under. I think they're going to probably be a little more conservative when it comes to getting points. And the fact that we're getting this number a little bit lower than we normally do kind of leads me to believe that the book seems to think that this is a little more likely thing to happen. So principally, it could be plus 500. It could be a monsoon. It could be a hurricane. I'm still taking it. So I'm taking it. I'm running with it. And it will be in the Patty primetime parlay as well.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I think I'm going to get on the field goals tonight. I think it's just one of those games where like you said, points come at a premium, and you're going to take your points when you can get them. So I saw one of the comments in the YouTube chat made me laugh. Surveyor Brett says, "Where's Dusty and Huss? These guys look like cool bet feds." Yeah, they're doing CFL coverage right now. Surveyor Brett. So they're out in the hammer. They weren't able to make it today. So we're trying to hold down the fort here for the lock shop. Hopefully we're doing an all right job. Yeah.
That is incredible.
So there's our lock shop. We laid out the lock shop partner parlay for Thursday Night Football. We've put one in for hockey. I'm sure that'll be up, by the end of the show, or if not just after the show. In terms of our other exclusives tonight, what are your thoughts there? We got, I think we got some NHL ones up now. Any ones that you want to highlight? before we keep it moving here?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first and foremost, the replacements parlay, Pat and Jake's lock shop special. We might have to get Ev Dog to change that to the replacements, but Vegas Golden Knights to win, Vancouver Canucks to win, and LA Kings to win. Plus 550. So we got a really generous number on that one. Really like that. But yeah, going through some of the other exclusives, just pulling them up here right now. Let's stick in NFL since we're talking about it. To be quite honest, I mean, if you look at what I have said today, over 3.5 field goals and then the under at plus 275, that's a really strong play if you're leaning towards what I like. I actually really like the ground and pound. Gus Edwards, Joe Mixon, and Lamar Jackson all to record 50 plus rushing yards. That's at plus 690. So a little bit of a bigger number. But I think the Ravens kind of go back to their ground and pound mentality. I think they use Gus Edwards to run the ball. Obviously, Lamar Jackson, we know what special things he can do. But it's so cliche. Like, yes, I know the weak point of this Bengals defense is their secondary, but running the ball and really having that ground and pound presence will open up the passing game. I know, I know the Bills lost that game against the Bengals, but in that second half, when the offense started to come to life, it was because they started to run the ball with Josh Allen with some designed runs. They had to respect that part of the game. Mind you, they didn't really run with any running backs, but that was an option. Gus Edwards should be able to get some yards here against this Bengals defense. And again, that will then open up the passing game, which I think that's eventually what they want to do. So plus 690, I like that one there. I already mentioned I like the snooze fest. Is there anything else that you like from our exclusives, whether it's in the NFL or even in the NHL?
Yeah, I mean, we talked about, and I didn't lay it out in full, but we talked about the West Coast Wagon exclusive. It's Elias Pettersson to score, which you're expecting him to get back on track. JT Miller, anytime point. He seems like a point machine. And the Vancouver Canucks to win. I mean, if you like that, I believe plus 525, if I have the number right there, Pat. Sorry, I'm still working on
You're good.
my being able to see the odds, but
yeah. So
is that what we got
one,
there?
yeah.
25?
Yes, exactly. So that one's at plus 525. I can go through it quickly.
So, I mean,
sorry, go ahead, Jake.
Perfect.
Yeah, so
you go ahead. I'm just getting myself back online.
No worries. No worries. So the heat up parlay, Elias Lindholm to score 1+ goal, Nazem Kadri to score 1+ point, and Calgary to win is plus 450. Talked about the West Coast Wagon parlay, Apple picking season, Jack Eichel, Alexander Barkov, and Elias Pettersson all to record 1+ assist. That's a plus 600. Generational talents. I like this one as well. Sidney Crosby and Connor Bedard both to score 1+ goal. Obviously, we know Bedard, what he's been having a great rookie season. And Sidney Crosby coming off that hat-trick performance, he's really heating up for this Penguins team. And Elabu, Cole Caulfield, 1+ goal. Sean Monahan, plus 1 point. And the Montreal Canadiens to win at plus 725. Don't know if I'll be betting that one. Might need to brush up on my French as well, as I'm heading to Montreal, Laval, in February. The National Lacrosse League is having a regular season game. So I know this is not a lacrosse show, but obviously, always, whenever I'm on the airwaves, got to give the beautiful game of lacrosse a little bit of a shout out there. If you are a lacrosse bettor as well, check out the NLL tab. Futures are up to win the NLL championship. Win totals, we're going to get player props up there as well. Jake, I think this is a good time. I mean, we've wrapped up with the NFL. We've wrapped up with NHL. Busy time, nonetheless, to be a sports fan, but a good time to be a cool bettor. Maybe if you could run down some of the exclusives, or I shouldn't say exclusives, some of the promotions, campaigns that we're running right now that coincide with the NFL season.
Yeah, absolutely. So in the NFL, we have two promotions that we're running right now. And actually, the one it runs for all football, but we are coming to the end of the CFL season, unfortunately. But we will still have college, we'll still have NFL. Is our Gridiron Grind, our bet and get promotion. Basically, what you do is you bet $30 on any CFL, college, NFL game during the week, and you'll get a $15 free bet towards whatever you want on the sports book. So if you're betting football, you might as well be on that one on a weekly basis, because you're just getting that free bet every single week, right to the end of the NFL season. We also have our Sunday Fun Day Bet Builder campaign. If you're not familiar with our Bet Builder, it's just our same game parlay machine. You put together a ton of different markets, all for one specific game. We do this for the Sunday night football game, where you can put $10 on a Bet Builder bet, and if it loses, you receive $10 cash back. So it's really a good opportunity to try it out. If you like Sunday night football, if you're going to be watching anyways, you're going to be placing bets, you might as well take a shot at that. So you can check those two out in our promotion section. And I mean, Pat, we're just talking about exclusives, and I'd be remiss not to mention our Hockey Hall, our exclusives challenge that we run all the way through the NHL season. So on a monthly basis, for every $10 you bet on NHL exclusives, you'll get a ticket into our raffle, and then we run the monthly raffle. The following month, winner can receive tickets to hockey team, NHL team of their choice. Wherever they're living. We'll send you some cool bet merch. It's a fun way to get everyone involved. If you're not betting exclusives, or if you are betting exclusives, it's just a great add-on to that. So make sure when you do participate in that one, you're checking the box before you lock in your bet, and that will guarantee that you get your raffle ticket. I think you can get up to 100 tickets per month or something like that. So plenty of opportunity to get in the mix. And then we spin the wheel at the end of the month, and we see who wins. So I know we had our first winner last month. Game cool bet merch. He was pretty excited about that. So if you want a part of that, go check out the promotion section, and that one's called the Hockey Hall. So 3 great ones there, and then we can probably tease the one we got coming up for Thanksgiving next week. So it's American Thanksgiving next week. If you're not familiar with the NFL schedule, usually they run 3 games on American Thanksgiving on the Thursday. So next week, you'll be able to see that we have an American Thanksgiving special, where if you bet, I believe it's $20 on the first game of the day, you'll receive a $10 free bet towards one of the 2 later games. So whether it's a night game, whether it's the late afternoon game, you'll be able to get in with a little extra action on one of those. So a lot to look forward to, and more coming in December as well. So, keep your eye out on the promotions page, and make sure you're not missing out on any of those opportunities, if you'd like, of course.
Big Uke in the chat. I know he is a big supporter of the Hockey Hall, and he also mentioned that he uses the bet and get on the field goal prop. It's literally the best, he says. So no doubt that's a great idea. I actually absolutely
Uke's
love
taking
that.
us to the cleaners with the field goals.
Yeah,
just taking us to the cleaners every week, and he just $15 free bet in his pocket. Probably uses that on the Sunday night field goals,
and it wins. It usually wins. Pat Maroon's bib. He was liking our thinking with the Canucks on the plus money, but I like where his head is at here. Bedard for a couple of points, plus 305. Tampa Bay, they're not the big bad Bolts anymore. Let me just tell you that they are susceptible to giving up some goals, and Bedard, what he's been able to do is pretty impressive. So I think I might sprinkle that plus 300. That's a great bet there. As we mentioned, folks, if you're just joining us halfway through, I'm Pat Gregoire. He's Jake Bolmoss, both with Coolbet Canada. Our guys, Dusty and Haas, are live on location for the 110th Grey Cup in Hamilton. I believe Dusty's at the awards tonight. Haas is down at practice for the Bombers right now. So make sure you follow both of them on their social media channels if you don't already. They're going to be pumping out some awesome content. I think we're going to make sure that they get some bets in live on location, give out some of their best bets while they're crossing paths. No doubt they're going to be pumping out some great stuff. Dusty's going to be on the radio call. I think he's going to be hosting a panel for a pregame show on Saturday. So be sure to tune in on TSN for those games and leading up all the coverage. But again, if you have not joined CoolBet, first off, what are you doing? Secondly, use the code LOCKSHOP to double up your first deposit up to $200. And that will be your little gift from the Lock Shoppers. Also, it's a nice way to show your support for what everyone does, not at just EST, but also WST, and of course, also with the Lock Shop. They are unbelievable ambassadors for CoolBet. We love that working with them, and we love all you cool bettors and lock shoppers coming in each and every week and showing your support as well. Jake, is there anything else that you wanted to hit before we hand things over to Mr. Lean and the EST crew?
Well, I was going to ask you, do you got anything for Patty's prime time tonight? We don't see it up in the exclusives yet. Have you thought it through? Have you want to maybe break that down? I assume Boyd's probably in there, and maybe the Burrow.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go Boyd, Burrow, and over 3.5 field goals. I think that's where we got to go. I mean, you laid it out nicely with Boyd, and you kind of reassured me there. And I think Burrow, that one right there, it might be a sweat all game long, but if there's an opportunity where he sees some daylight and takes off, boom, we've hit it there, and we're halfway home, I guess you could say. And then the field goals, it again doesn't matter what the situation is. That's always going into the primetime parlay. So Ev Dog, if you're listening, throw those three together.
We've already got replacements changed in the lock shop section.
Well, you look at that. Look at that. That is incredible.
So, yeah, Evan, that's Burrow rush yards, Boyd receiving yards, over 3.5 field goals. I know he'll probably have that up before the 2:00 Eastern hour here, the noon hour for the Edmonton folks. So I mean, looking forward to Thursday Night Football tonight. Ton of college basketball on now. Yep. So I mean, you know how we're big in the college game. Keep your eye out throughout the weekend, folks, for our exclusives. Pat and I do a college football exclusive every weekend. I think we won again last week. 3 of our last 5 or something like that. So it's a little teaser exclusive. I know there were some questions about Coward's parlay in the chat. Unfortunately, we don't have JD with us anymore. So he used to do the Coward's parlay for us, but we can look at doing some more teaser bets.
You know what?
Exclusives as well.
I'll do
Cowards.
No, we can't steal Cowards, but we'll do Patty G's teas. I'll get a Patty's G's teas out there.
Say that 10 times fast.
Yeah, Patty G's teas. Patty G's teas. Yeah, we got this. We talked about a lot about Canadian football, obviously with the Grey Cup. It's a big weekend in Canadian collegiate football as well. We've got the UTech Bowl, the Mitchell Bowl. I'm not going to try to fool the lock shoppers, and I know you aren't either. I don't have any picks, any leans. Now, with that being said, if anyone in the chat has some picks, absolutely fire those in there or tweet at us. But as you know, you can bet on U Sports Football at CoolBet. We'll start with the UTech Bowl. University of Montreal -3. Western is +3. Both of those are at -114. The total set at 48.5. The Mustangs, if you think they can get back to the Vanier, they are at +105, whereas the Caravans are -137. In the Mitchell Bowl, the UCB Thunderbirds are massive favorites at -18.5. St. Francis Xavier, the X-Men, are +550 on the money line. Don't know if that's worth a sprinkle or if UBC is just going to roll to victory. The total between the X-Men and the T-Birds at 48.5. So you can get those ones there. if you hit the little U Sports tab right below the NCAA, you'll see the football logo there. I know we've got a lot of support for Canadian U Sports football this season. A lot of people were asking early and often, and we're glad we're able to get that up. So just 3 more games left in that season. We've obviously got the UTEC Bowl, the Mitchell Bowl, and then we'll wrap things up with the Vanier Cup, which is always a great event in Canadian sports. Let's check the chat here. Nothing yet. No bets for any of those games yet. So if anyone's got a lean, we're always open to it.
Yeah, maybe we should touch on one last thing since Maddie fired it over to us yesterday. For those curling fans out there, we've got some Grand Slam of Curling Masters futures out. Still a little bit of time, about a month out here, but we do have men's and women's outright winner odds up right now onto the curling tab. So if you're looking forward to that, if you got your eyes on that, that's something that you can take a peek at and see, how those odds are looking. I noticed Botcher, a bigger favorite than Gushu, so something just might be seeing a shift here in the Canadian curling world. Those Grand Slam tournaments are always great. You get some of the best teams from all over, and if you're looking into the curling space, if you want to bet on curling, then by all means head over there, check out what we have in store. Anything else, Patty, before we send it back to Mr. Lean here? I know we only got about maybe 5 minutes or so.
No, I think this is a good way to end it. Of course, tune in tomorrow. We don't know the roster. It might just be a mixed bag of bodies showing up for the lock shop. I know I'll be in at some point. I think Huss said he's good to go. We're just waiting on Dusty. The guy is just schmoozing all the clients and chatting with everyone down in the Hammer, just living the lavish life. Did you see his setup yesterday at Fallsview Casino at the sportsbook there? That was
I didn't. I didn't see it. I saw his video at the Falls today, but I didn't see yesterday's setup.
It was legit. Yeah, go to his Twitter feed. You can see it there. He's living lavish, but hey, he deserves it. It's a big weekend for CFL football, Canadian football, and no doubt, for all the hard work he did all season long, flying all over this great country. Doing great on the broadcast. It's a great way to end. And if you haven't been to a Grey Cup, man, you got to experience it. Was there last year. The CFL hosted us. It was amazing. It was an awesome experience, whether you're a CFL fan or not, man. It is must-see stuff. Just all the fans coming together, having their own individual parties, and you go to the different rooms and stuff. It's a really, really cool experience. And I know both those fellas are enjoying their time. And that's all the time that we have here on the Lock Shop. We'll see you guys tomorrow for a full breakdown of the NFL card. We'll obviously also talk about the big game, the Grey Cup, with the hopefully 2 of the guys that are down there. We've already got a lot of props up. We're going to have even more props. Maybe we'll do a little bit bigger of a deep dive when it comes to some of those props. And of course, we'll keep our eye on the NHL as we'll have some day hockey as the Global Series continues. For everyone here at Edmonton Sports Talk, we want to thank you for tuning in to the Lock Shop. He's Jake Bolamas. I'm Pat Gregoire, and we'll see you tomorrow. And of course, good luck with the bets.
And that was the Lock Shop. Thanks to Patty and Jake for taking over for Huss and Dusty. As they mentioned, they're out in the Hamilton area. Dusty's in Niagara because of the CFL awards down there. So they couldn't get on the Lock Shop, but we got 2 great guys doing it for you there, and a couple really nice parlays that they've got up now at coolbet.com. Just head to Coolbet, click on the exclusive. They got Patty's Primetime Parlay at plus 725, the Lock Shop Partner Parlay at plus 350, and I love the name, the Replacements Parlay plus 550. I'm Adam Wanek. This is now the Fantasy 5, brought to you by Century Casino, Sports Bar, and Lounge, where Lieutenant Eric will be tonight as my Baltimore Ravens take on the Cincinnati Bengals, a game that I'm still not feeling comfortable about. I was I really felt the Ravens needed to get the win over the Browns this past weekend because this one just seemed like a loss to me. And the fact that they lost to the Browns, I could easily see this go on to 2 in a row. That's a tough division, the AFC North. And I don't care what Tommy wants to tell me about Joe Burrow's hand and everything like that. When this division meets, no matter who it is, they take on anyone. Whether it's the Ravens and Bengals, whether it's the Steelers and the Browns, whoever, it's always tight games, and this is a tough division this year. So I'm very worried. The Ravens may be 3.5-point favorites in this one, and I'm gonna be nervous all night. I haven't been nervous in a while with the Ravens. Because I just don't want to see 2 straight losses. Like I guess I should have been nervous a little on Sunday, but we were kind of busy here in Edmonton covering something else that I didn't get a chance to really follow along to that game, which was probably for a good thing. But yeah, the cool bet hotline of the day from the morning show today, by the way, Odell Beckham Jr. over 25.5 yards. I haven't checked if the lines moved or anything. It was at minus 115 earlier today. Beckham has done it 6 out of 8 times this year, getting over 25.5 yards. He's done it also 4 of his last 5 games. So, it's one of those. I'm really liking OBJ. And what do we got? 25. Actually, the odds have moved up since the morning show. For him to get over 25.5 yards, it's plus 100. So, for every dollar you spend, you get $1 back. So, if you bet $1 on Odell Beckham and he hits 26 yards tonight, your account goes up by 2. You get your $1 back, plus you get an extra $1. So I'm liking the hotline even more right now when it comes to OBJ. When it comes to fantasy football, yeah, I don't know. I think a lot of teams out there, you're going to have a few players to choose from for tonight. I don't know if there's any question marks for this one, but if you have Lamar Jackson, you're going to play him. If you got Jamar Chase, you're going to play him. If you got Mark Andrews, you're going to play him. Would you play the Ravens defense against the Bengals? I still think you have to trust the Ravens defense, even though and this is where I'm not good also for these things. I always am really hard on my team, so I don't like having Ravens players on my fantasy teams because I'm usually more harsh on my players of the Baltimore Ravens than love them. So I always will just think negative. But when it comes to that Ravens defense, look, what did they do to the Lions? What do they do to the Seahawks? I'm expecting them to have a little bit of a bounce-back game. So I think fantasy perspective, if you got the Ravens defense, I don't think you're scared necessarily playing them fantasy perspective as they go up against the Cincinnati Bengals. As I mentioned, Lieutenant Eric at Century Casino Sports Bar and Lounge tonight. He's cheering over there. It's not even that it's going to be a good Thursday night game that you get to go watch. There's the free square board. I wonder, hey, Eric, what jersey do you think they're going to have tonight? Is it going to be Ravens or Bengals? You never know. You never know. It better be a Ravens. Otherwise, what's Renee doing? Renee's great. I just really hope she pulls out the Bengals jersey or a Ravens jersey, not a Bengals one. There's the free square board, which gets you in the chance to win that jersey. As well, it's your third last chance to qualify for the big prize. They'll qualify today, they'll qualify Sunday, they'll qualify Monday, and then Lieutenant Eric gives away the trip. So you got to get to Century Casino Sports Bar and Lounge for a chance to win that trip. It's also a beautiful night when it comes to their special, the smoked brisket cheesesteak. It's $9.99 tonight, plus there's a special if you get that on a drink, whether a beer or a highball. So you want to get down there tonight. I won't get down there tonight because you never want to see me watch my Ravens in public. Just straight up, that's not something anyone wants to see. But I will be there Monday night with Lieutenant Eric as he does that final entry into the draw, and then I think does the big grand prize draw on Monday. So Century Casino Sports Bar and Lounge. It's the place you will want to be tonight, Sunday, and Monday. As one, you get great food, too. It's great company. Lieutenant Eric always brings a crew with him. I think Fergie's prostate's supposed to show up with his backgammon game, so maybe you could challenge him in backgammon. And they've just got an unbelievable selection of TVs there that you can watch everything. And on the side, there's the horse tracks. You could make some bet on the ponies, or what's the thing that's always coming up? The Caliente Greyhounds. That's all tonight down at the Century Casino Sports Bar and Lounge. That will wrap. Matt Cassie and Joaquin Gage and myself will recap the Oilers game as they defeated the Kraken yesterday in overtime in the comeback win. They flew today out to Tampa as they take on the Lightning Saturday. So we'll preview that road trip. We'll recap yesterday's game with the two guys that know what they're talking about in Gager and Cass. That's coming up here on YouTube. We'll just transition and redirect you over to Two Guys and a Goalie for those listening on the audio stream, whether it be on EdmontonSportsTalk.com or those on TuneIn Radio. If you're on TuneIn, by the way, give that little favorite button as we just keep going up there. And also, if you're on YouTube, like, subscribe. It'd be wonderful. We're hoping to get to size 6,000 subs by the end of this month, but we'll redirect you over. And for those on the auto stream, you're going to hear Waylon the Wolf for a little bit, and then once we connect with the boys,